If you're a midlife man navigating change and uncertainty, then stay tuned because this video is for you. David William Pierce, welcome back. And after over a decade in spiritual and personal development, I've seen the pitfalls of both and have climbed my way out of a few myself along the way. And what I've realized is that the thing keeping many of us stuck isn't a lack of understanding. It's the belief that we need more. This week's reflection landed particularly strongly for me because it revealed a subtle pattern that I've not just seen in myself, but in many of the men that I've been speaking with. There is no reason, but reason alone, to paraphrase. Maybe you know you need to have a difficult conversation, or there's a career decision waiting in the wings for you, or simply just asking for what you want from someone or from life. You know what needs to be done, yet feel unable to do it. As though something is preventing you from taking the next step. The strange thing is that when we look closely, that something is often nothing at all. It's simply the belief that we need to understand the reason before we can move. The mind wanting another insight, another explanation, one more piece of understanding, as though the understanding is the doorway. But what if it's not the doorway? It's actually standing in the way. And what if understanding gets to be the bonus prize? This is where tantric teaching has become very practical for me. In non-dual Shaiva Tantra, subject and object are not considered separate. The thing being perceived and the one perceiving it arise together. They are a bifurcation of consciousness. Neither exists independently of the other, which means you are not separate from the solution. You're simply overlooking your connection to it. Most of us approach problems as though they exist over there somewhere. That the solution, the answer, the clarity we seek is somewhere else. And we're there trying to reach, grasp after it. But Tantra points to a different possibility. That separation itself may be the illusion. That the solution is not separate from the problem. That the thing you're looking for may already be present, but invisible because of the perspective you're currently looking at it from. Sometimes the breakthrough doesn't require another reason, simply another way of seeing the problem. Just like Neo in the Matrix, trying to see the reason is impossible. And seeing the truth that there is no spoon, it's you that stops being the reason. For me, that was making the choice to step out of the loop of needing to understand the reason and to just step into the loop of taking action. I think this is particularly common amongst intelligent men. We become addicted to understanding. We believe that if we can just find the right insight or framework or explanation, then action will finally become easy. So we read another book or listen to another podcast or watch another YouTube video in the hope that it will unlock something and change everything. That consuming another piece of content will do it. And all the while life waits. And it's not because we're incapable, but because we're trying to think our way out of a problem rather than taking action and allowing understanding to reveal itself along the way. The need for a reason is often the very thing keeping the loop alive, keeping the problem alive. This week's study explored a teaching from the Vijnana Bhairava Tantra that says the awareness of the knower and the known is common to all embodied beings, but for yogis, the difference is that they pay careful attention to the connection. Most people focus exclusively on the problem or on themselves, whereas the yogi becomes curious about the relationship that exists between the two, the connection, the process, because one cannot exist without the other. And often it is within that connection that clarity can begin to emerge. I've been finding that the moment I become curious about the connection rather than obsessed with the reason, the knowing, the why, something begins to soften. The loop begins to break and movement returns, allowing life to flow again. And this is a huge part of the work that I'm doing through men's transformational yoga and the edge. Many men arrive believing they have a problem with confidence. But often the deeper issue is that they've become disconnected from themselves. It's not the relationship or the career or motivation. It's something within them, something in the way, something stopping them. They're stuck trying to think their way through a challenge that requires action. Personal development without strong spiritual foundation develops false confidence in external reality, and spiritual development without the right systems in place raises awareness to becoming so hyper-focused on the issue, but lacking necessarily the tools to actually create change. It's the conscious combination of the two that allows you to meet life at your edge and begin to enjoy it more fully. So helping men navigating major life transitions and rebuilding self-trust from grounded direction, not by giving more theory, but by giving them the actual steps to reconnect with what they already know. So if something in that speaks to you, follow the link in the description. Tantra doesn't deny the existence of challenges. It simply questions the assumption of separation, because when separation dissolves, something changes. The challenge, the resistance, the emotion, they all become information, everything part of the process rather than evidence that something is wrong. For me, this has meant stepping out of the loop of needing to understand the reason and instead stepping into the loop of taking action. The action itself becomes the teacher. It's the idea of an iterative process. You take a step, you learn from it, and then you take the next one. And very often the understanding arrives on the journey rather than before it. And this is the paradox. We think understanding creates movement, but often movement invites understanding. We think clarity precedes action, but often action generates clarity. We think we need the reason first, but frequently the reason only becomes visible once we're already moving. And a transformed man learns to trust the process consciously. Dissolve the need for a reason and you dissolve the problem. Many men believe they need more certainty before they can move. But perhaps what you need is not another insight, but the courageous choice to take a step forward, because life often reveals itself through participation rather than observation. The moment you stop waiting for the perfect explanation, something powerful can happen. You become available for life to move through you. And in that space, self-trust can begin to return. So this week's reminder is that you are not separate from life. You participate and co-create the reality you experience. And the more deeply that you can recognize this, the harder it becomes to actually remain stuck in the illusion that the answer exists somewhere outside of you. So I'll leave you with this contemplation. Where did you assume separation this week? Between yourself, a challenge, or another person, or life itself? And where might a deeper connection have been present that you simply haven't recognized yet? So if you're still watching, thank you. I appreciate your presence. And if you're a man navigating a challenge, or know a man navigating a challenge, join us at The Edge. It's a free monthly online forum for midlife men focused on confidence and self-mastery, relationships and self-trust. The idea is simple. It's come with a challenge and leave with a greater sense of clarity and a practical next step. You can find details in the description, or you can message me on Instagram to discuss. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next transmission. Cheers.